Recording in progress.
All right, I'm going to call the January 15th Borough Council business meeting to order. Let's go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. Joe is our new council person. Going to lead us in pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Charles, will you call the roll?
Yes. Council President Bush.
Here.
Vice President Rickards. Here. Councilmember Simonson.
Here.
Councilmember Borough. Here. Councilmember Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Gaudini.
Here.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
And Mayor Dana Edwards.
Here.
So I'll try to keep my comments brief, but I'm sure like a lot of folks here in Narberth, I've been shocked at the actions that ICE has been taking in Minneapolis between the death of Renee Good as she was trying to escape armed men trying to essentially yank her out of a moving car to I just heard there was an incident where somebody threw a stun grenade into a car full of kids. People getting pulled out of grocery stores, abandoned cars everywhere because people are just being yanked out of them. It doesn't resemble the country that I grew up in, that I want to live in. My mother is an immigrant. She came here from Cuba. Her family has come over, and they've been profiled at times. My uncle got his car disassembled trying to go over the Canadian border because they were sure they weren't sure. They suspected he was smuggling drugs just because just how he looked. And when we told those stories, it was kind of joking. It's like, that was the bad old days. When you used to get into trouble with the government just because of the way you looked. And I am incredibly distressed that we're heading back in that direction. So when I was back home at Christmas, my dad gave everybody Santa gave everybody in the stockings a whistle to call, alert people of the presence of ICE. So I'm offering these. Santa left a few extra. So any council members, any elected officials want, feel free to take some whistles, pass them along. We don't have any particular evidence to suggest that ICE is going to be coming here in Narberth. But I mean, they've been in Norristown. They've been active up there repeatedly. And I was talking to our outgoing Mayor Deutsch about this, and I said, well, I don't think we really have to worry about that here in Narberth. He said, oh, well, you always have to be prepared. Be prepared, be ready. And I really hope that we don't have to have armed masked men on our streets rampaging through and pulling people out of cars, but we will do what we can to be ready if that happens. So, all right. Mr. Mayor? Okay. Do you have a report?
Yes. So wanted to welcome our newly elected members to your first official business meeting. So I've been compiling some resources to send to our new folks just to get them onboarded with information that they need. And we continue with our bridge meetings. We did post this week that there's going to be the road closure starting on Monday the 19th. The road will be closed for the duration of the project, so this will continue through 2029. So it is the intersection between Elmwood and South Narberth Avenue. So folks who have driveways within the road closure area will still be able to access those driveways, but it will be closed to vehicular through traffic. And as we've previously stated, there's still going to be pedestrian and cyclist access throughout the entire duration of the project through the road closure area and across the bridge. So that will still be maintained throughout. We started working on compiling all of our year-end financial records, getting together things that we need for the audit, so we're trying to get ahead of that as much as possible. Otherwise, we have some positive news on some of our long-standing land developments. So we're nearing completion of all of the final closeout requirements that we have for 100 Forest and 203 Haverford. So including payments, and we did receive something just today from the engineer because we're waiting on a couple of closeout documents, really more crossing T's, dotting I's for those things, monuments and as-built plans. So I know that the engineers are working on that. So hopefully those are going to be officially, formally, finally closed out very soon. And otherwise, we are also prepping with MCPC, Planning Commission and council members on the open house that we have coming up, which is Thursday, February 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. That's going to be discussing the zoning recommendations that the Planning Commission has been working on for the 4A, 5B district. And there will be a presentation by MCPC at the February Planning Commission regular meeting on housing affordability. So some of those things will be echoed in the presentation at the end of February as well. So lots of just administrative things kind of going on, and then getting prepared for all of our upcoming events. And also we are kicking off our grant writing season as well. So our first grant application is going to be the MACO 2040 grant, and we are pursuing these grants just as a reminder for the Elmwood Ave pedestrian bridge. We are renaming it Elm Grove Park pedestrian bridge since it ties into the park as opposed to the street necessarily. So it's kind of both a pedestrian tie-in for pedestrian access, but also for park access. So we're rebranding it the Elm Grove Park pedestrian bridge. So March 3rd is our deadline for the MACO 2040. There will be a resolution before you guys in February for that. And then April 30th is our application deadline for the DCNR grant funding. So we're looking to essentially double dip as much as we can on the grant. So we're applying for full funding from both of those grant sources to maximize our grant potential. We will know in early to late spring from the county if we are a recipient of their grant. We won't find out though until the fall if we're a recipient of the state DSNR grant. So a little bit longer to wait for that one. So hopefully we have a strong application and looking forward to securing some grant funding to kick off our capital plan for the year.
Is the plan to begin construction on that next year as well?
For 2027, yeah. So this year we're just doing grant funding, securing all of our permits from DEP, kind of teeing everything up. So Panoni is working right now on doing the design plans for it. So those are going to be completed. This is going to be a shovel-ready project by the time that we actually submit the grant applications. There might be some minor modifications to the engineering that we'll need to do, but it's more or less going to be ready to go. So the design plans are going to be secured. We will not likely have secured our permits yet, but we will have identified all of the permits that we will need, and then we can work on securing those permits. In our CIP, if you recall, we do actually have the money set aside in our capital fund to pay for this out of pocket entirely if that's what we need to do. So we will still be moving forward on this project regardless of whether or not we get grant funding. But again, like I had presented last year, we are hoping to get as much grant funding as possible to offset some of those costs to be able to repurpose that capital funding for all of our other projects that we have. So that is our game plan.
All right. Questions? All right, let's move on to public comment. Nobody in the room, so anybody online wish to make a public comment? Can't tell who that's second.
We have Barbara online.
Barbara, if you want to make a public comment, you can unmute yourself. Okay.
I don't see a hand.
It appears not. So I'll close public comment. Consent agenda. Motion.
I move that Borough Council approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, and D.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion of the consent agenda? All right, we are voting on consent agenda items A, B, C, and D. All those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. We have one consideration item. EAC, Planning Commission.
I move that Borough Council authorizes the public notice and advertisements of ordinance 1068, increasing the members of the Planning Commission
decreasing members of the Environmental Advisory Committee and adding an alternate member to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Second.
Second, okay. As a reminder, this is to clean up our code, which has currently has 5 people for the Planning Commission, and we have 7 members and an alternate. And also to fulfill the request of the EAC that they go from 7 members to 5 members. In order to just make it easier to make quorum. They haven't been full for a while. Any discussion of these changes? So we've also added the alternate to the Parks and Rec. I guess because we had a number of strong applicants to the board this cycle.
I do just want to note, we did authorize advertisement of this ordinance last month, but because of the recommended changes to add the alternate, we tabled that. We didn't advertise anything last month. So we haven't, this isn't re-advertising anything. We actually had never authorized, you authorized it, but we never actually moved forward with the advertisement for this. So if you authorize advertisement tonight, then we will proceed with advertising the ordinance for your consideration for then final adoption next month.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, so we are voting to authorize ordinance 1068 with the changes that were made last month. All those in favor? Okay, it is unanimous. Once again, that's it for our action items. Information items, everything is, reports are in the packets. Committee reports, F&A.
Right, okay. Well, we're nearing the end of recommending a reporting structure for boards and commissions. I think we're pretty much agreed on what we're going to recommend, I think. And then most things already report to public health and safety. We're going to recommend that pretty much the remainder get cleaned up by finance administration. And that would include planning commission, and then the boards and commissions that don't normally come to a borough committee meeting. We're going to make the effort through F&A to contact them maybe September of every year, just to get a status update, make sure they're still, they're still doing work and that their membership is stable, and if they, have any anticipated vacancies coming up. And what's the other thing we're working on? It's escaping my mind right now. I don't have it in front of me. What else did we talk about? Do you remember? Anybody?
We talked about the ordinance that we just advertised.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
No one picked that.
There's something else. Frequently asked questions for EIT.
Oh, yeah, that was.
I still
yeah.
keep hearing
Okay,
from
just gotta
residents
call
who
that
are really confused
Yeah.
and who feel they're getting conflicting information. So I feel like there's if anybody wants to contribute to that, please, think of things that, that are not covered already on the Berkheimer site. They already have a fact site on Berkheimer, but I feel there are a lot of holes in that, and I feel like we can fill some of those in.
I'll have some things to forward
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just had a call this afternoon with a question about that,
Mhm.
someone who didn't know, and now they have to pay back, but it's,
Mhm.
yeah. Thank you for tackling that, Jim.
All right, thank
Pretty much
you.
it.
Infrastructure, have you met?
We have not met yet. I met with Mr. Gardini Monday morning, just since he's been on the committee and I haven't, to talk about sort of what needs to be moving forward. And then I met with Ms. Dawes and Ms. Pisano to set a temporary agenda and also just get a big overview of sort of full year. So
All right.
but more fulsome report next time.
Okay. Public health and safety?
Public health and safety did not meet in January, but will meet in February.
All right. Any new business? Old business? Comments for the good of council? All right, we will, what's that? We will have an executive session after this meeting to discuss employee evaluation. We will not return to session after that executive session. Take a vote. motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all right. All those in favor of adjourning? Okay, motion is adjourned.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.